Ladies and gentlemen, as Sri Lankans, we have had many challenging years in the recent past. We've gone through wars, tsunamis, but above all, last year we had a dreadful experience when the country was declared bankrupt. For us to come out of this, we have always been a very resilient nation, but for us to come out of this, we need to go back and analyze where we were, at least since we got independence. When we got independence, we were a self-sufficient nation. And as a country, we were doing very well. Even in the 1960s, when Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew visited Sri Lanka, he had seen the country and he had gone back to Singapore and said, Singapore must try their best to be like Sri Lanka. That's where we were. Few things that we did then was to introduce free education and free health. Now, was that good? Yes, it was indeed. Because today, when we look back and see what we have got as a country due to free health and free education, we can be proud because Sri Lanka has one of the lowest infant mortality rates, one of the lowest maternal mortality rates, and our health systems are extremely good. When you talk of education, we got probably the best literacy rate in this entire region. So we have definitely have had benefits. But later on, when the country had to develop, and especially in the late 1970s, when we decided to open the economy fully, we sometimes did not realize all the repercussions. Whether this free education and free health would be sustainable. Now looking back, after the country was bankrupt, and as a result, the brain drain that the country is facing, we obviously have to realize a few facts. What has really happened? Through free education, we've educated many, especially academics. And those academics have done well for the country. But now, when especially after the pandemic, what happened was we lost out on our foreign exchange. We had minimal foreign exchange coming because there was an impact on people who were working abroad and sending money, as well as because tourism suffered. So those people who worked abroad and sent their hard-earned money to our country had very little education where the country is concerned. We invested very little in them. Either they have had no education or minimal education. So those people went to the Middle East especially, did unskilled jobs, earned every cent of theirs, sent the money to Sri Lanka to sustain their families. But that foreign exchange was so valuable to us because it is through that foreign exchange that we continue to provide free education and free health. Now, taking that money from the poor people who have strived to earn that money, as a country, we've been educating people and making sure that they receive free education from kindergarten right up to university level. So many of our academics, after qualifying, today you could see they are leaving in hundreds and thousands abroad for to the developed world for greener pastures. Now this is something that is really worrying for the country, especially thinking of the future. is this fair? Because people, Sri Lankans who have had free education, using those resources and going overseas and creating this huge brain drain. So in one hand, we provide free education from kindergarten right up to university level for a handful of Sri Lankans. On the other hand, that money is earned by people who have had less education or no education. Now, the Western world also has to look at our situation in somewhat of a different manner. As poor countries, we spend all our resources to educate people. Take someone like a doctor. You spend millions and millions to produce a doctor or a specialist. Now, Western world or the developed world take all these people for employment. They have zero investment on these people. And when these professionals are taken to the Western world, they just walk in and they just start working. So are they being fair by the country is something that we all have to ask ourselves. So as Sri Lankans, I think we have a few lessons to learn. This is a time where we have to understand that whatever views we have, extreme views, we have to come together and agree on things that are sometimes even difficult to agree. In our country, we still have people who kind of fight for free education. And we have also people who pay, especially in the private sector, for everything that they get in the private sector. So we have to understand we cannot sustain free education throughout. Even in the developed world, especially higher education or tertiary education is not free. Students have to take student loans and pay it back. So we have to now agree we need free education for the deserving Sri Lankan students up to a certain level, especially at school level. But beyond that, I don't think it is sustainable. That is something that we all have to understand. Similarly, health. Inasmuch as the poor, the deserving people need free health care, we cannot have everything free. So this is a time for Sri Lankans to look back and understand where we started and where we are going. If we do not do that, I think we will not be able to get out of this crisis well. Even as a Buddhist, I am a firm believer of treading the middle path. So the time has arrived for all Sri Lankans to tread that middle path in everything that they do, be it education, health, or general living. Even with regards to the economy, this is a country that opened up the economy first in the entire region. From a situation in the 1970s where we had severe shortages, early 1980s, we came to a situation where everything was freely available, but at a price, where everything was imported. So even in our general living, we need to, again, tread that middle path. We cannot afford luxuries all the time and import everything because the crisis that we have at the moment is a foreign currency crisis. It is important for us to produce in Sri Lanka. It is important for students to be creative, be innovative, be it in IT or in anything that you do, and come up with our own products, because that is the only way the country can move forward and maintain sustainability. That's my wish for Sri Lanka. Thank you.